in front of the school children, he says he only likes to date white women, wanted the school children to shave their head, that he intended to put them in jail if they misbehaved, and they would lock them up in cages. It's one thing to have your own company and bark out orders and be rude, and if the adults want to, deal with that, great. Um, but it's quite another when you involve children.
Jesus Christ, Hitler, yay! Third party, sponsor that, nigga.
Jesus Christ, Hitler, and yay. Now, the school was physically locked from the outside during the school day. Well, that way, you're guaranteed that you're locked in, I guess. Students weren't allowed to go outside. I mean, why would you need any sun anyway, Defendant West reportedly did not allow children no chairs, so children had to sit on cushions and sit on the floor and had to eat on the floor. Who the f would send their kid to this school? Classes could not take place on the second floor, as West reportedly did not want children and staff going upstairs since he was reportedly afraid of stairs. What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminally Reacts. I'm your board-certified criminal defense lawyer. That's exactly what I am. And why am I board-certified? Because I've taken 2 exams. I had enough trial experience to call myself an expert in the area, or a specialist in the area of criminal trial work and criminal law. So what that means is just that I've got a lot of experience. I've been doing this over 25 years, 26 years to be exact. And I go to court and I try cases. I don't just sit there and hold your hand and write a passport to prison. That's not what I do. But I'm not doing this alone. We have the content genius here, Michael Rivers, behind the camera, behind the ideas. Today we're reacting to Kanye West. Kanye West, now you talk about a character. I'm scratching my head at this guy. But before we get to Kanye, yay, West. Before we get to Mr. West, I want to put a shout out, and we got another wedding invitation to Mita and Zachary. So they send us a little note. It says, Bruce, we watch you more than we'd like to admit. Why wouldn't you want to admit that? You got to admit that, because this is infotainment here. You're our favorite, thank you, Amita and Zach. So we're waiting for the formal invitation. Hopefully we can make it. We'll give you an RSVP if we can, but really appreciate it, and congratulations. Now, before we get to Kanye, let's talk about why we're here and who our sponsor is. eForms.com is our sponsor. Go to eForms.com if you need any kind of legal form or document. The reason you do that is so you don't have to hire a high-priced guy like me. We did it for Grandma. We got power of attorney for Grandma when she started to start her own school and, denying these kids to put them in cages and making sure that they eat off the floor. That's what we do with Grandma, because Grandma's not really competent to do those kind of things. So you go to eForms.com, whether it's a power of attorney or a bill of sale or a rental agreement, business agreement, any kind of legal document that you need that protects you so you don't even have to go to court, go to eForms.com. Okay. Now, Kanye West is being sued. He's being sued by Cecilia Haley and Checkary Byers, and then also Trevor Phillips. These are former employees for the DONDA Academy. First of all, let's talk about Kanye for a second. Kanye, how do we put this? I think he would be the absolute most difficult client to have. He thinks he's a king. He's got all kinds of fanciful ideas. He likes to show up with a mask on, so you can't even see his face. He's definitely a different cat. Does his own thing. That's all well and good until you start involving other people, until you're messing with children. So let's just kind of go over what the causes of action from these former employees. We've got retaliation, violation of labor code. Retaliation. So in other words, they reported him and he fucked with them. Discrimination based upon race. And here's the deal. He didn't like black people. He goes after the black people and is super nice to the white people, according to these complaints. Violation of labor code, unlawful withholding of wages. My understanding of the withholding of wages claim is Adidas, withdrew, and then all of a sudden his bank held their funds, and anyway, and they weren't able to pay any people for a while. Violation of labor code, waiting time penalties. Violation of labor code. So what else? Inaccurate wage statements. And then you've got, for the next one, it's discrimination and violation of the Fair Employment and Housing Act. 2 counts of that. Retaliation again. Failing to take all reasonable steps to prevent discrimination, harassment, and retaliation in violation of the Fair Employment and Housing Act. Violation of a labor code, whistleblower. And then violation of labor code violation, there's like several counts of that. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Breach of an express oral contract to pay wages at a certain amount. He was offering like $100 an hour for one of the employees. So he's got all these different companies. He's got Yeezy, he's got Peasy, Speezy, Jeezy. I don't know what the fuck but he's got a bunch of different companies. He puts out music, he puts out clothing, and I don't know how he makes so much money. He's a billionaire. Kanye's a billionaire. I mean, he's a big deal. And I know a lot of people like him and whatever. But imagine working with the guy. I mean, let's just take a look and see what it would be like to work with Kanye.
Yeah. Your trainer, hardly pass you that, Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? And they be hanging around these niggas just for the money or some Mike Rubin shit. I slap the shit out of Mike Rubin. I see that.
Could you imagine working for the guy?
You saw this shit. Don't tell me about my fucking political opinion. I made more money to show you that money ain't nothing. It's our money, nigga. It's our country. It's like they stole it from us. It's pyramids, nigga. It's pyramids in St. Louis, nigga, Missouri. They stole it. All the shit. America just the latest bitch that been ran through so many times. The Greeks hit her. Mansa Musa hit her. We had her. The Indians and shit. The motherfucking pilgrims. It's the Jews. They dress the same. It's the same shit. That's the story. They put us in the school. The Rothschilds. I know Jay-Z back here like, they go down now. I've been here for a year.
Are you following this? Honestly, I mean, it's just the rant of somebody with bipolar. Honestly, I don't know if he's got bipolar or not, but I mean, go through with this thread. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Who got the hospitals? These are Zion. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Jesus Christ, Hitler, yay. Third party, sponsor that, nigga. Yeah. Bring your sponsorships to that. Because it's going to be niggas that feel exactly like me. I don't give
Jesus Christ, Hitler, and yay. I mean, these are the rants. The rants of somebody who's not well. Now, that's all well and good. You know, when you have your clothing store, you want to fuck with your employees, you want to do that kind of stuff, that's just all well and good.
Nigga, don't say me shit. I'm by myself in this motherfucking room, nigga. Everybody shut the fuck up. Hey, shut the fuck up. Let me tell you something right now. Just the fact that you ain't listening to me, ain't none of y'all niggas with me. I'm by my fucking self. Because ain't none of y'all niggas stand up for me. Ain't nobody stop. Shut up. Be quiet before you get exiled. Like so I'm saying is, no.
So he says, she says, you're not God. And he says, be quiet before you get exiled. You know, and then on the other video, you heard him say, Jesus, Hitler, yay. Now, at some point, when somebody shows you who you are, as Maya Angelou says, believe them, But, in the Phillips case, Phillips is one of his employees at this DONDA school. And this is basically what he's saying. Saying that he treated black employees worse than white employees, screamed and berated employees while he never raised his voice or his tone at white staff, spewed hate, professes anti-Semitic tropes and lies, threatening LGBTQ community. In other words, he hates Jews. Says he's God, as you just heard. He says he's God. I mean, he had an operation to grow cotton. And he didn't make the white people grow cotton. Made threats to Jewish people. Says, I'm a bit slippy, but when I wake up, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jewish people. He really doesn't like the Jews. Lost leases to 2 properties due to anti Semitism. Expected everyone to work 60 to 80 hours a week. I don't really have that much of a problem, but with promises of $100 an hour, but didn't pay it. Preached to his staff obscenities such as, the Jews are out to get me, and the Jews are stealing all my money. You just heard he talked about the hospitals and who owns the hospitals. In front of the school children, he says he only likes to date white women. Wanted the school children to shave their head, that he intended to put them in jail if they misbehaved, and they would lock them up in cages. It's one thing to have your own company and barcode orders and be rude, and if the adults want to, deal with that, great. Um, But it's quite another when you involve children. I'll tell you more about that because there are regulations that you have to adhere to. But he says Hitler was a good person. Jewish people are bad and they run America. And Chinese people run them. The Zionist Jews are out to get me. They are a part of human sex trafficking. The Jews are working with Adidas to freeze up my money and to try to make me broke. The Jews can't stop me. Adidas can't stop me. I will be the richest person in the world. You know what we call that? Those are delusions of grandeur. That's the product of mental illness. Or just an asshole. One of the two. But you have... Let me just read you some stuff from the other lawsuit from Haley and Byers. Now, Haley had prior experience as a juvenile justice officer, so worked with kids before. So that's actually would be a good hire. But the plaintiffs, that means Haley and Byers, were the only female African American teachers. They noted multiple safety and health violations. The DONDA Academy doesn't have a properly disciplinary system, as students were subject to being severe bullying. Students slapping each other. Didn't have any janitorial services. No janitorial services. Did not have a school nurse on staff. Did not follow nutritional guidelines. And why is that? It's because they only fed them fucking sushi. Sushi. Their bill was like $10,000 a month in sushi. Tell me what kids really like sushi. Not many. They like peanut butter and jelly. Didn't have any security precautions. No cleaning staff. No cleaning products containing chemicals, so teachers were only allowed to clean with acid water and microfiber towels. There were no trash cans outside of the classroom or the kitchen. I mean, how is he qualified to have any kind of school whatsoever? No protocol surrounding students with medical needs, like no EpiPen, that kind of shit. I mean, there's a reason you have a school nurse. When you're in their care, when you're in the care, custody, and control of the school, they're responsible for you, and they're responsible for what happened. Students were allowed to be picked up from campus by strangers. Fuck. Yeah, I'm going to send my kid over to Kanye's class. I don't really give a shit who picks him up. He'll be back next Thursday. I mean, come on. Let's see. Parents would bring their newborns to school, and that's not distracting, is it? And pass around the infants to others, including teachers. Well, geez, anybody want a communicable disease from an infant? Let's see. Otherwise, strict rules and requirements that the school had no choice but to adhere to, such as didn't allow crossword puzzles or coloring sheets. Classes could not take place on the second floor, as West reportedly did not want children and staff going upstairs since he was reportedly afraid of stairs. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Defendant did not want children to use forks or utensils. Probably because he's afraid of forks. Defendant was required that cups and bowls be the color gray. Defendant West did not allow color in the classroom or artwork hung on the walls. Teachers and children were not allowed to wear jewelry because Defendant West reportedly did not like jewelry. Defendant West reportedly did not allow no chairs, so children had to sit on cushions and sit on the floor and had to eat on the floor. Everyone was required. Who the fuck would send their kid to this school? I mean, who would work for this guy, and who would? I mean, you'd have to be kind of nuts to oh, it's Kanye West. I'm going to send my kid to, and he'll become this. I think it was a build originally as like an art school, like a performance art school. Everyone was required to wear all black from head to toe. So were they when they had that cult where they all wore Nikes and then they all drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, remember Heaven's Gate? Heaven's Gate. They all wore Nikes and they all wore the same outfit. I mean, that's what it reminds me of. Now, the school was physically locked from the outside during the school day. Well, that way, you're guaranteed that you're locked in, I guess. Students weren't allowed to go outside. I mean, why would you need any sun anyway? And why would you need to play on a swing set? Oh, why? Because he was afraid of swing sets and they didn't allow swing sets. Students had to eat their lunch on the floor and there were no tables. Because tables are scary too. But here's the main thing is that when, you have all these violations, because, schools have to adhere to, I don't even think they're still in business if I'm not mistaken. I hope they're not. But when you have a school, you have to adhere to certain regulations. The lunches have to meet certain dietary requirements. The facility has to meet certain requirements, like you have to have chairs and tables and shit. Think about, you send your kid there, they don't fucking clean up, because all they have is microfiber towels and maybe a little acid water, so they don't clean the floors, and then you're forced to eat on those floors, the healthy meal of sushi on a dirty floor. So, but here's why this is a problem, because when these plaintiffs started complaining about it, he retaliated against them, and throughout the entirety of the employer, paychecks were ultimately were untimely or inaccurate. Plaintiffs' paychecks would often be approximately $1,800 to $2,700 per pay period. Plaintiffs complained to DONDA Academy about their failure to pay them wages, and they retaliated against them. They were terminated. Plaintiffs formed the belief they were terminated as retaliation for their complaints. So, let's see. There are several students with bullying issues that remain unaddressed. Plaintiff buyers complained that the students who became violent should be expelled from DONDA Academy, and those needs weren't met, or those concerns weren't addressed. So, and so they're suing for an unspecified amount of damages plus punitive damages. What are punitive damages? You remember the E. Jean Carroll case where he got like $60 million in punities? Punitive damages are not compensatory. They are damages meant to send a message, to punish the defendant and send a message publicly, basically. And if you just give like $5,000 to a guy like Kanye West, who's a billionaire, in punitive damages, you don't really send that message. So if any of these people are, part of the LGBTQ community, and Kanye's, you hear he makes all kinds of things about Jews and gays, and he's making comments like that. Well, they're protected class. So similarly, if you're African American, you can be discriminated against by another African American based upon your race. And if that's going on, those are real problems. Now, how would I feel if I was representing Kanye? I would actually probably love it, to be honest with you, because I think it would be so funny to represent him, just because he's so crazy. He had something going on a while back. So around the time that, my office partner is a pretty well-known lawyer. His name is Joe Friedberg. And around the time the George Floyd stuff was going on, Kanye was making all kinds of problems, and he was having trouble with Adidas, I think, at the time. And so Joe offered, he somehow got his cell phone number and texted him. And the minute he said his name was Friedberg, Kanye said something like, "You're a Jew and I don't want to talk to you," or something like that. He's just got to be the most difficult person. And by the way, Kanye, if you're going to watch this, I'm Roman Catholic, so I think we're good there. If you want me to help you out, I'm not really soliciting you for a client. But it would be fun because, number one, he's got a shit ton of money. And you could do all kinds of creative things, legally speaking, that you couldn't do otherwise. But he still would be, a loose cannon. You let him testify, what's going to happen? And I don't know what's going to happen with these two lawsuits. Real damages are probably not that high, to be honest with you. They're probably, for you and I, they'd be significant. But for him, they're not going to be that much. I mean, if they'd be $1 million, I'd be shocked. When you look at Kanye West, and we're going to, show you, well, when you look at Kanye West and his antics are absolutely fine just out in the public domain. Let the market dictate what's happening to him. But when you all of a sudden involve children and you have a school that you're supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z, and you're not doing it, that's a real problem. Some of this could even be criminal neglect. I just don't know how he gets by that. So if any of this, I mean, this stuff could be totally bullshit. I have no idea. I doubt it, because you can see how he is. He thinks he's God, and he calls himself God. You got Jesus, Hitler, and Ye. I mean, what the fuck is that? Honestly, I think it can be universally known that Hitler was not a nice guy. Make sure that you don't treat your Jewish brothers and sisters like Kanye does. I have a lot of Jewish friends, and they're all fantastic people. And also, don't discriminate. Be nice to everybody. It's a really good rule to live by. So make sure you follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. Now, every Patreon member, we're going to give you a hat. So if you're a Patreon member, get me your address through the Patreon system. And as soon as we get your address, we'll mail you a hat. Okay? And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God.